All right, welcome back to another edition of Quadrant 2 Project Management. I'm Kurt Bell. I'll be your Q2PM instructor for the day. We're continuing our tools series, learning all about the various tools and utilities that come with our SharePoint sites. And in particular today, we're talking about the status log or the status report. So part of the methodology for running projects using our SharePoint toolkit and methodology is to provide regular and timely status reports to our team, and very particularly to our project sponsors. It's our sponsors in particular who are going to be very appreciative of having a regular update about how things are going with their projects. And I'm going to show you how to do that now. Those of us that have adopted this methodology, of course, those of us who work at the county have our Fridays on and our Fridays off. We tend to elect to use our Fridays on as what I call them status Fridays. So every Friday, I have a goal of sending out a status report for each of my projects, and I will not leave the building until that's done, so I try to start early. With a little bit of practice, it gets pretty easy, and it doesn't actually take a lot of time. But when you've got 4 or 5 projects, it can actually be a bit of a process. So let me explain that process to you now. We're looking at, let's go up to the screen right now. We're looking at the Oingo Boingo World Tour 2020 SharePoint site. We're using this site with our Thursday classes where we're talking about our process, and we're using it to take the Oingo Boingo band out for their 2020 World Tour. One of the items on the toolkit over here on the left, there's a lot of stuff we've already covered: the notebook, the document library, the reports, testing, all this. We've talked about all of that already. One that we've missed that's up at the top is status. And this is the place where we can actually perform our status reports. If I click on that link, it actually opens a document. It's a Word document. And I recommend that when this document opens that you instantiate it, open it into your local Microsoft Word. The editing is fine, but what you'll find is that it cuts and pastes more nicely into an email document from the actual local Word than it does from the online Word. I don't know what it is about the online Word, but sometimes the formatting comes out weird. Some of you might know some tricks about how to paste it in a certain way that it comes out. I haven't figured that out. So I just bring it out into real Microsoft Word, and it cuts and pastes very cleanly. It looks really good. So I would then click on Open in Desktop App. And don't worry about it. Any changes that you make in the desktop app, they get saved to the cloud as well. So you can edit in the online version of Word or the desktop version of Word as long as you open the document from the cloud, and it will save back to the cloud. There we go. So we have that same document now open on the screen. And hopefully that's big enough for everybody to see. Now, I'm going to show you this document. This is blank. This is as it comes. If you contact us and ask us for a SharePoint site, we'll spin up a site to you, give it over to you, and this is what you get. So it's got some instructions in it to explain how to use the document. After I show you this template, we're going to switch over to a real project, and I'll show you one of my status reports that I sent out last Friday to see what one of these looks like in the wild, so to speak. So let's just take a look at this and read this through. Project status report. Instructions. The project manager should provide a regular bi-weekly email status summary to project sponsors and stakeholders, CC the team. Status reports must include the following information. Let me just stop for a second. With my projects, I typically create a separate couple of mailing lists. I'll create a mailing list, for example, for the sponsors and stakeholders. Those are typically the executives and managers that are responsible for the project. I'll also create another mailing list for the entire team. So if I want to CC everybody that's involved, I have one. I can add them to the CC field just by typing in the name of that particular mailing list. Likewise for the sponsors. Some projects, like my Windows 10 project, I've got like 3 or 4 different groups for the various subgroups that I need to communicate with. It makes it really easy to send messages to targeted audiences, but it's a little bit of a headache sometimes keeping those lists up to date with staff changes and additions. Let's continue. The status report must include the following information. Date. Select the current date. That's editable. I'll show you that in a moment. Health, which is a color-coded indicator. Red means there's trouble, yellow is a caution, and green is good. Status, a short paragraph summarizing activity since last status report. I really mean that. Try to keep that within a paragraph. Remember, this email is being sent to someone who's probably an executive. As you know, if you've worked with executives, they don't have time to read pages and pages of status. They wanted you to basically, boil that down to just the facts, ma'am, as they say. And that takes some art. That's actually where I spend most of my time writing my status reports, is getting that one paragraph down to 2 or 3 sentences that say just what I need to say in the most concise and easy to read fashion. And if you can do that, boy, your sponsors really appreciate that. They will comment on that. Milestones. List recently completed major milestones and upcoming milestones. Issues. List any major issues. Now on the milestones part, there's a way to do that in the notebook. Remember when we talked about the lesson about the notebook, and that is when you close an item out and you change its color from yellow to gray. You may remember that when we had that lesson, I showed you how to change the color but leave the checkbox there. And do you remember why? Does anybody remember why I said leave the checkbox there?
It's a reminder that you need to add it to the status report.
That's right, Juan. So by leaving the so when it comes time for me to make my status report, I look through the story and I look for any items that are gray but still have a checkbox. That means, those are items that we completed in the last 2 weeks, but I haven't reported to the sponsors. I'll add those to the work completed list, and then what do I do after I add it? Remove the checkbox. That way I don't report it again. Otherwise, it's up to you to remember what you closed and what you didn't close. And if you have 3 or 4 or 5 projects, good luck with that. Okay, next bit. These are, again, we're still in the instructions. To use this status report template, simply type over the sample content below and then copy and paste the content into a status email to send to the team. You need not worry about saving content from previous status reports, which are automatically saved by SharePoint through document versions. Please see your SharePoint project management team if you need help using this process and system. That's the end of the instructions. So SharePoint will keep versions. Every time you open this document and you make changes to it, it will create a version. So if you want to revert back and see past status reports, you can bring those versions back. But I find the best way to do that is just the fact that you're sending these out via email. Of course, you're going to CC yourself. You're going to have a beautiful actual email record of every status report you've ever done, and that's amply sufficient. I've never once had to go back to SharePoint and look for a version, because it's always in my email, and that's as good a record as anything. That's the end of the instructions, and typically for my real projects, what I recommend is after you read these instructions, say goodbye to them. Just delete them. Whoops, I went too far. Yeah. I took out the subject line. There we go. I'm going to get rid of all of this. I don't need the instructions anymore. Now, what you've got on the screen now, this is the bare bones of the status report. Now, please try to utilize this same structure in sending your status reports out. This way that we have a nice uniform look and feel. So your sponsors, after a while, they'll get used to, oh, there's a status report on the XYZ project, and they know just what to look for, right? If you change it up on them, then they're going to be a little bit confused, and it gets them off their footing. And if you have a couple of projects that you're working with them, they're going to really appreciate the uniform look and feel that they get, and they'll appreciate you for helping them to clearly understand. Now, so let's take a look at this. The first thing is the subject line. And why did I include that? Well, that's because I would like us to all use a standardized subject line syntax. And that syntax is, don't worry about the subject line part. That just tells you what this is. Status, colon, the name of the project, and then the word project. So if this was the XYZ application, I would say status. Well, no, we know what this is, right? Let's go ahead and modify it. Status, oingo, boingo, world 2020 World Tour, right? 20 World Tour Project. I might not even need the word project at the end. In fact, I'll probably just take that out. So keep that word in if the syntax reads well, but if not, you can take it out. So subject line, status, Oingo Boingo 2020 World Tour. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to grab that status line. How are we doing on time? We're about halfway through. So we have about 15 minutes left. I think I can do this. I'm going to come up here and go to my email, go to new, and in the subject line, there we go, status, Oingo Boingo 2020 World Tour. It's just that easy. Good. Now let's go back. Whoops, here it is. Now I have to play wordsmith. Sponsors and stakeholders, that's your salutation. You don't have to use any first names or last names or anything. Sponsors and stakeholders, the following is your bi-weekly status report for the Oingo Boingo 2020 World Tour. Okay, and then a colon. Now you have to get creative with the wording in just a second. And here's the date. Now remember I said you can just change the date? Click on this and it's a drop down and you can pick today's date, which is the 27th. Good. And I have to ask myself, what's this health? Is it yellow, green, or what? What did I do? Oh, wrong year. How did it get all the way there?
Today.
Just click on today.
Oh, today. Thank you. There we go. And then you want to pick your status, green, yellow, or red. Back down here to the status again. Let's change this a little bit. Now I've got some verbiage in there that I added to kind of help you out. Oingo Boingo to 2020 World Tour. Now often in my projects what I do is whenever I encounter the project name, I bold it. Kind of makes it jump out. Helps shorthand. Let's change the wording. The Oingo Boingo 2020 World Tour project is green and I'm going to change all of this. This was actually from an actual project, but we don't need that. Is green and in the project planning phase. The business case document has been completed and the project team are developing. What's after the business case? Project, yeah, and that's actually capital letters. These are proper items. Project project proposal options. Right?
Project proposal.
Yeah, project proposal. That's all I need to say at this point. We've completed the business case. We're working on the project proposal. Thank you very much. See, I kept it under, what is that, 2 sentences, right? Then I would go down here, milestones, recently completed, business case, right? Document outlining the project's, business problem this project seeks to solve, which is pretty simple, right? We want to take the band on a 2020 World Tour, right? And that's it. I didn't complete anything else. I'll just take out this line, delete that row. Good. Upcoming project proposal, document describing project options with pros, cons, and assumptions. And the goal is, of course, the customer pick one. Pick which one you want. And maybe we have other things going on. Let's pop in real quick to the notebook and see if there's something going on in the notebook for this project. And by the way, once this is open in the Word, you can close it down online. It doesn't hurt it. You can just close that document down. There you go. And there you go. Now, let's just take a look at our notebook. Hold on. Oh darn me! I closed down the whole thing. Let's just open it up again real quick. After a while, if you work in this stuff, it gets real nimble after a while. I try to develop my tabs in such a way that it's intuitive to avoid closing things I really need. There we go, it's back open. We're gonna pop, what I'm looking for now is I'm popping back into the notebook to see if there's anything that I want to communicate, right? Because right now it looks like we're just working on one thing, which is the project proposal. Maybe there's more. Let's see, we are working on, we're working on a fiscal plan, right? That's right. Oh, and we discovered the band's favorite snacks with drummer. Oh, we have an risk. There we go. There's all kinds of stuff we need to report, right? So we need to, we have the action item to prepare the tour itinerary, identify transportation SME. Oops, I forgot to create an item for that. I need to do that. So let's just add that in. Here, prepare a tour itinerary. Let's go back here to the document. So upcoming, prepare a tour. Let's change the formatting there. Develop a plan for where the band will play. And I think if I remember right, that was a dependency on the proposal, right? We couldn't really move forward on the proposal until we knew what the band was going to do, right? So I might mention that. Proposal dependency. Let's add a new line because I saw something else there. And we also had the identify the transportation SME. Let's grab that. That's driving me nuts that I don't have a hyperlink there. I'll fix that. Okay, boink. Identify transportation subject matter expert. Now, I'm just not coming to my mind exactly what that was, but that's okay. Oh, I think I might have a description. Let's see. No, I don't. Oh my gosh. Subject. Oh, that's right. We needed to find somebody that would be an expert about logistics, about getting, band members, equipment, and supporting staff all around the world, right? So let's add that in. Okay. Find a touring find an expert on touring logistics. Now, if I had created the actual log item, I would have had that listed there. My bad. Is there anything else that we're working on? Let's take a quick look. Oh, prepare a fiscal plan. Fiscal plan, let's see. Or did I already add that? Nope. But I didn't spell dependency.
Upcoming is for the length, for the overall project length, or just for till the next status report?
These items will remain here until they're complete.
Okay.
So they will carry on week after week until they're complete. And now they will be changed into issues being problems typically. If I'm encountering issues, I might move one of these. Right now these are all on the up and up. But if I have a problem, like I can't find a fiscal plan, I can't find that tour transportation SME, I might make that an issue and request my sponsor's help. Prepare a fiscal plan, plan for monetary, oh gosh, what would that be? Prepare a tour budget and expense plan, something like that, right? And I think I've got everything that we're working on identified. I don't think we care about reporting that we know that they discovered the band's favorite snacks, right? I don't think the sponsor cares about that, so I won't include that. Drummer carpal tunnel, look at that. And it's actually identified as a risk. Hopefully that's big enough for people online. Let me make that a little bigger, okay? That's a risk. So that is indeed, and I can just copy and paste. And beware, everybody, beware copy and paste in the notebook. But if you're pasting out of the notebook into the Word document, you're fine. That's an issue. So what I'll probably do is I'm going to enhance this a little bit. I'm going to say issues and risks. And risks. Good. So, and the problem is, let's take a look at it. The problem is, let's open it up. Click on it. We have a description here. The drummer has indicated he has been diagnosed with carpal tunnel syndrome. Now, I don't need all of the options. Remember that? We laid out all the options last time for the risk. I don't need to identify all of that. I'm just going to communicate that. But I am going to add a project risk was logged. Guess what else I'm going to do? I'm going to take the hyperlink from this thing right here, and I'm going to paste it into the title here. So if anybody wants to do a deeper dive on this, they can click on that. So if a sponsor says, hey, what is that? Yes, sir.
So when you pasted it over from the notebook, it had a hyperlink. Could you have kept that hyperlink?
Yes,
Okay.
yes. Yep. So good. So hey, I've done that. Is there anything else in terms of risks and issues? Let's take a look real quick. I'm going to close this, get rid of this. Wait, go away. Oh, we can just close that. Go away. Is there anything else? Nope, that's it. We've got everything. Ladies and gentlemen, we have this. I'm going to go ahead and remove any extraneous lines by the delete row. And we've got it. And down here, oh, project team site. This is the first time we've done that. I've got it. The yellow means attention, please. Okay, I'm going to take the team, go to the team site, Oingo Boingo World Tour, make sure click on the home. And then there's two ways you can do this. You can grab the explicit link here, or you can click on the share button. Click share. This is a little more labor intensive. Oh, it doesn't always give you the copy a link option. It doesn't give me that there. I don't know why, but I just copied it. And I'm going to paste. You only have to do this once per project. Just take that here. Now I'm pasting it in, and guess what? I'm going to remove the yellow because I don't need that anymore. Now keep in mind, any links that you include in your status report, who's going to get to see to whom will these links work?
You think you have access to the site?
Yes, Ikram, thank you. I think you were all headed right down that same path. Anyone that you've given access to the site. So if you ever get an email from someone saying, hey, how come I got a message that's saying access denied when I click on your link? Your link is broken. Is your link broken?
No, you just forgot to give them access.
Right. So what happens is every time you add somebody into the project and add them to the roster, make sure you go in and explicitly add them. And you can add them very easily. All you have to do is go to the site, click on share. Let's imagine that Juan here has been added. I would just type Ugarte. Now, of course, it knows him because he's in the system. And I say, hi, Juan. Welcome to the Oingo Boingo Tour project page. And I would say, please let me know if you have any questions. Share. Now it gets, Juan will get an email in his inbox. He's already, it doesn't hurt to send it to you twice. And SharePoint remembers, oh, Juan has access. So if you ever get that email from someone, hey, your link is broken, just say, oh, I forgot to add you, add them in. They'll say, try it again.
So when you add them and give them access, what role do you assign them?
You want to assign them the role that's appropriate for their level of involvement. If it's someone that just needs to just read-only access, then just give that. Otherwise, give them contribute access is the formal SharePoint term for it. Contribute gives them the ability to add documents, edit documents, and delete documents.
Is that the default?
Contribute is the default, yes. If you have someone that you want them to be able to really create items in here, like new lists and libraries, give them ownership access, but tread carefully with that one. Ladies and gentlemen, we're 4 minutes in, and I'm going to really quickly show you. Yes, sir?
So on the status, it says it's green, but it's yellow.
Thank you. Yes, you want to change the color to the appropriate color. Actually, what you could do, what I typically do is change this one to green and just take that off altogether, like that. Now, here's what I'm going to do. It's real simple. Copy, because everything's there. I gave it a double check. It looks good. Copy that. Go back to my email, paste, and see how all the formatting came across very nicely? Looks great. I don't have to do anything at this point. It's ready to go. It's ready to click send, and all the hyperlinks are there and everything. Maybe take out this extra space at the bottom. If you try to do that from the online version of Word, it'll be all over the place.
Well, what about if you send it to all the class members?
Oh, okay. Well, actually, I don't want to do because I don't want to put their full names up on the screen because this goes on YouTube. So yeah, hiding people's names. That's why I picked you, because I know you're okay on being on YouTube.
I'm okay, but any stalkers, Kurt?
But let's just go ahead and send this to myself. Yeah, any stalkers, let me know. I'm going to go ahead and send this email to myself. I always, of course, read the whole thing carefully one time. Send. Oh, there's people's names showing up there all over the place in my inbox. And there's the email right there. Okay? Now it looks very beautiful, status. So all they have to do in the future is if they want to find status, just search for the keyword status. And it's going to show up beautifully in their inbox. And there's the whole status email right there. Any questions? Okay, last thing I'm going to do, we have just a few minutes left. I want to show you a real status report from a real project. This is the Windows 10 project, which is one of my projects that's actually a long project that I'm just wrapping up right now. This is actually one that I sent out on the 16th, which was a little less than 2 weeks ago, so I'll be sending another one out on Friday. Let's read it real quick, okay? Status, Windows 10 DPSS project, sponsors and stakeholders. The following is your bi-weekly status report for the Windows 10 DPSS project, 8/16/2019. Health, green. Status, the Windows 10 DPSS project deployment is now complete. The project deployed 1,175 upgrades at 57 sites. As the project completed work ahead of schedule, the joint DPSS RCIT team decided to circle back and deploy upgrade hardware at sites which the team previously visited before hardware refresh became available. Typo. These bonus refresh sites are listed below. The team is currently on track to complete this bonus work before the project's formal 9/5 completion date. Darn it, I proofread this thing 4 times and I still see two typos.
Yeah. Word didn't catch it either.
No.
Well, some of them, they're correctly spelled, but they're real words, but it has no context.
It doesn't, exactly, it doesn't know the context. But do you see, that's a longer paragraph than I like, but I had a lot to say. This was the summary of a more than 1 year project, plus a bonus stuff we were doing, but I still managed to squeeze it into one paragraph. One of the sentences is a lot longer than I'd like, but I couldn't wordsmith it lower. Bonus refresh milestones. Completed. Kidd Street on 8/14, Park Ridge Avenue on 8/15. Notes, complete. And then a list of in progress or upcoming sites, the dates and the names of the sites that we'll be visiting before September 4th. Risks, issues, and changes. We have 3 issues. One is called cannot locate list. That's actually, it doesn't mean we can't find the list. That's why the quotes. It's just a list of equipment that when we visited the sites, we couldn't find the machines were there. So the description is, we will leave this open until the end of the project, leads updating as they go. Another issue is Indio laptop refresh, agreement reached to send out 15 per week, leave it open until complete. So we're managing this, we have a plan, we're just going to leave it open until we're done. Issue, refresh sites, refresh plan in place, leave open until complete. So all of these issues are non-issues really, we're just tracking them to completion. And then the end of the thing. I sent that out. I always know that my sponsor is pleased with the result in this particular sponsor because she sends me an almost immediate response within an hour. It just says, thank you, Kurt. And that way I know that she's read it, she understands it. That's one less thing for this sponsor. I'm going to back to the camera, full screen. That's one less thing for my executive sponsor to have to worry about. I've done a good job then, right? Because she's plenty busy enough with all the things that she's got to take care of in her role. And that is the goal of this status report, is to give these people, the sponsors, the stakeholders, and CCing the entire team the peace of mind of knowing that their project or product is being well managed by our team. And if there are issues, that we're communicating them in a timely manner. Trust me, these people, it will jump out to them right away if this health is yellow or, heaven forbid, red. And with that, we're just 2 minutes past the bottom of the hour. That is your status report. Each of you will have one of these in your project site when we create the site for you. Go ahead and read through the instructions, delete the instructions, and please remember to reserve a little bit of time on your Fridays on to send out your status reports. And if you will, please CC me or another member of the Q2PM team so that we'll make sure to update your project in the Q2PM dashboard. That is reviewed by RCIT management, and they can see that you're doing a great job with your project. Are there any questions?
What makes the health change from green to yellow or red?
That's a great question.
Criteria or something.
It's one part subjective, one part objective. Okay, the subjective part is a gut feeling in a way that, hey, things things don't feel right, right? Looks like there's a storm on the horizon. I'm taking this thing to yellow, but you need to have a reason for that, right? Typically, my concern, red means that we're not going to make our dates. It looks like we're not going to meet we're not going to keep our promises, right? Yellow means that we have some good reason to think we're not going to keep our promises. Yellow, for example, will be if, for example, Dell, for maybe like the Windows 10 project, Dell's a particular piece of hardware. It turns out they do a recall on that hardware. Dell issues a recall on a particular model of machine that we're using for the project. It doesn't mean we're not going to make our dates, but hey, that's something we need to address. So I would take the project to yellow, and I would give the justification that our hardware availability might be in jeopardy. Red would be that the recall that the hardware is failing outright, like and the machines are working, and we're going to have to pull those things out of the field, and we're going to have to redeploy our resources.
Okay. Just a quick.
Of course, as much as you want.
So since this report includes all the pretty much all the deliverables or whatever is upcoming.
Yes.
So if you're let's say you're not going to meet 1 or 2 milestones, but the overall project is going to meet the deadline, would that make it yellow?
That would make that an issue. It could make it yellow if you think your dates are in jeopardy. I've had that happen, and the team has come up with a contingency plan. For example, they're going to work on an extra Friday on, and send a team out to take care of it. So we're still on target, but we're remediating in a certain way. So what I would do is I would make that an issue.
Okay.
And I would move that down to the issue. For example, I'd say the XYZ site is having trouble, but we have a plan.
Okay. Got it.
Typically yellow means that the sponsor or the stakeholder, I need your help, or I may need your help. If I think I can solve the problem without the sponsor's intervention, then I just alert them that this is happening, but we've got it under control.
Yeah, that's a good criteria.
Yeah.
If the sponsor needs to get involved, then it goes yellow.
Yeah.
And it basically means it's because somewhere, along the line, something needs to be freed up. They need to, reallocate resources, somebody's priorities, so they can spend more time on the project.
Yeah, an example of that was losing key personnel, right? Where management may have to be involved in reallocating, shuffling the deck chairs, and getting someone in place, right?
Yeah.
It may not need to go as high as an executive, but it may have to go up to a stakeholder manager.
So for our Boingo tour, the drummer's carpal tunnel issue, would that make it yellow?
That would indeed make it. Nice catch, Ikram. That you're absolutely right. What were we thinking?
Did we have some options there?
We did have some options there.
Stakeholders need to get involved.
Yeah, but we haven't. He's absolutely right. We do have options, but we haven't taken that to completion.
Right.
Thank you for pointing that out. Yes, this project is indeed should in the interest of time, this should be changed to yellow, and that's where reading it, composing it, reading it. Actually, what I do is sometimes then I would go to lunch and I come back and look at it again, because that kind of stuff tends to pop out after repeat. I hate it when it pops out after I click send. All right, is there anything else? But thank you for pointing that out. Anybody online? Do you have any points or questions? No? All right, well, I want to thank you all for joining us again. I'm sorry I went a little over time.